Hey everybody, Brad Wolfe, Life Realty District, and Team Wolfpack out here in Las Vegas and Henderson, Nevada. Wanted to talk about the market and crises. We've had the COVID crisis, and we went to a toilet paper crisis, and now we're at a housing inventory crisis. So wanted to talk about it and kind of explain. We spent a lot of time on the phones talking with buyers and sellers about what's going on in the market. I thought a video with some visuals might make a little bit more sense. So let's get started. Our market, I like to look and analyze what's going on in Vegas, our inventory, supply and demand, and as a team we kind of talk about this in the mornings so we can learn how to structure transactions, manage buyer and seller expectations and whatnot. Right now, our total inventory, we're at 2,619 homes on market. This is as of April 16th, 2021. Of those 2,619 homes, 1,954 are single family, 9 are short sales, 6 are bank-owned foreclosures, which, to give you an idea, back in 2008, there were over 20,000 foreclosures on market, and there are 6 today. Total condos and townhomes, 608. Total homes sold last month, 5,002, gives us an absorption rate of 0.52% or a 2-week supply of inventory. And look at this number right here, total in escrow, 4,289 homes. We have more in escrow than we have on market right now, basically telling us that as soon as homes are listed, they're being sold. And what we're seeing is basically this. It's a little crazy. Snapshot of year-over-year changes in key metrics. So we're up 49.5% in showings from last April to this April. These are national numbers. We're up 39% in purchase applications. We're down 0.5% in pending transactions. We're up 9.1% in existing home sales. We're up 8.2% in new home sales. Look at this number here, our existing home inventory. We're down 52% from where we were last April, like when the COVID crisis started. We're down 52%. In new home inventory, we're down 4.6%. Mortgage rates, a huge contributor of all of this, dropped to a record low. I know the bond rate back in April hit 0.60. We've never seen that before. Now the bond rate's at 1.51% today. The interest rates dropped probably 2.25 to 2.5, and now they're climbed up to about 3.18 nationally. I would say probably 3.25 today, but they are climbing. You're changing housing inventory. Again, this is just nationally to show us that we're not dealing with this ourselves here in Las Vegas. This is something that you're dealing with on a national level. Literally every state across the country is having some sort of issue. You can see Las Vegas is at 44.2%. Nationally, our average is 52% less inventory this year today than we had last year. Dr. Lynn Fisher says house prices nationwide recorded the largest annual and quarterly increases in the history of the FHFA and HPI. Low mortgage rates, pent-up demand from homebuyers, and a limited housing inventory supply propelled every region of the country to experience faster growth in 2020 compared to a year ago, despite the pandemic. It's very strong. A lot of it had to do with this. These are new home builds being built, so new home inventory. You can see going back from the 70s to the 2000s, record number of homes being built, 2003, 5, and 6. And then the crash in 2008 just left us with a low number of homes being built, way low over our 50-year average line. This is what's contributing to the market we're seeing now, is this void in homes being built, which is a result of the last crash. Are we seeing a cash out refinance crisis? I get this asked a lot. Does today look like it looked in 2006 when people were refinancing a whole bunch of money and pulling money out? The answer is they're pulling more money out, but not nearly as much as what happened in 2006. 2006, they were pulled out a record $321 billion in cash out equity loans. Last year, they did $153 billion. So a far cry from the amount of money being pulled out in cash out equity or cash out refinances. To compare 2006 to 2020, you can look at this table here. tappable equity loans in trillions. So there's $4.6 trillion. The red column is 2006, the blue column is 2020. There's 4.6 in available equity in 2006 versus today, which means there's more equity in loans today than there was in 2006. Of that, 89% of the refinances done in 2006 were cash out refinances versus only 33% today. So that's a far cry from how many cash out refinances based on refinances were done between 2006 to today. So is it the same? Not nearly as much. The numbers are higher, they're 33%, but they're not as high as what happened in 06. That's shown here, $321 billion cashed out, $153 billion cashed out today. In percentage tappable equity, 7% in 2006 of the amount refinanced versus only a low 2% today. So we have more equity and less people doing cash out refinances is what this graph is showing. The Wall Street Journal says the residential real estate market is on its biggest year since 2006, just before the bubble burst and set off a global recession. Yet in nearly every meaningful way, today's market is the inverse of the previous boom. In the mid-2000s, loose mortgages, lending standards enabled borrowers with poor credit histories to purchase homes beyond their means, sometimes with mortgages that required low payments in the early years of the loan. This next graph shows 4.1 offers, the amount of activity in offers, kind of based on each closed sale. So this shows that in the last year, we've steadily climbed in the amount of activity. Is this like the last time? This is a big one here, and this is a big reason I'm doing this broadcast is to show that the high-risk loans that happen before, and that's annotated here in this red mark. High-risk loans are your stated income loans, stated asset loans, loans generally done on adjustable rate mortgages, usually 2, 3, and 5 year terms. And what happened was when those terms came to adjust, buyers just decided to get rid of their homes because at that point, values were falling. There was no need for them to keep the house. A lot of them were investments anyways. So a large part of what happened in 2008 attributed to the types of mortgage products that were sold back then versus today. Today, interest rates have been low for the last 10, 11 years. Most of our mortgages have been on some form of 30-year fixed loan, not nearly like the adjustable rate loan level we saw in 2006. That's kind of annotated here. So your reasonable lending standard is this yellow line here. You can see from 2003 how it climbed in 04, 05, and 06, the amount of people doing whatever they can to refinance and purchase homes. And then the crash, and then boom, standards change. There aren't many stated income loans or stated asset loans out there. I haven't seen any. If there are, they're private lending. They're not nearly as big as they were. Most of our loans today have been fixed for 30 years, so you don't have that volatility we had back then, which means we probably won't see the same thing happen. I can't talk about what this COVID and employment crisis and all that stuff's going to do, but from a historical loan practice, we shouldn't see the same type of issue we saw back then. Months inventory of existing single family over sales. So this just shows how much inventory we had based in 2004, 3.9 months, 2005, we had 5 months, 2006, 6.4 months of inventory, and 2007, 9.6, versus today, we're steadily going down. In 2017, we had 4 months, 2018, 3.7, 2019, 3 months, and now we're down to just over 2 months supply of homes nationally. So because of lending practices and things like that, people were able to buy more, which increased values of homes, even though the inventories were kind of rising in those years versus our inventory levels now, how they're falling. So that's a really important graph to pay attention to look at the disparity of 2008 versus our 2020. Odetta Kushi, the deputy chief economist at First American, says it's not just a seller's market, it's a super seller's market. This is an incredibly competitive home buying environment. If you're in the market now, you can definitely agree and concur with that. American home equity skyrockets. The average gain in equity of mortgage homes is over $26,300. That's from this year to from last year to this year. The current average equity of mortgage homes, so of the homeowners out there that have loans, their average equity is right around $204,000, which is huge. 38.2% of all homes are owned free and clear. It's also a very big number to pay attention to, and an increase in equity totaling over $1.5 trillion. So they averaged over 6.2% increase in equity. Your change in home equity in Las Vegas or Nevada, we average right around $21,000 from last year to this year. Across the country, you can see, and nationally, we're at an average increase of $26,300 just from owning your house. And imagine, so it's hard to explain, but if you look at our Las Vegas inventory numbers, basically picture a faucet, and the faucet's turned on, and there's a drain at the bottom that's wide open. The faucet represents, the water are listings that are coming on market. The drain is the sales that are, selling, and the water that's left in the tub before it goes down the drain is the inventory. And that's kind of like what our market looks like now at a snapshot. So it says, imagine a situation where you're trying to fill a bathtub full of water, but the drain is open, the faucet's on. Think of the faucet being on as the flow of sales into the bathtub, and the drain at the bottom that are the closed sales, and they're sort of going out the other side. At any point in time, the amount of water left in the bathtub is your inventory. But what's missing is the whole pile of water that might have come into the bathtub and out the drain before you knew it. And so there we look at the measure like days on market, how fast, what's the velocity of the market, and what's happening today in our market is the average days on market is 21 days. A lot of homes are flowing into the top of the bathtub and flowing out the other side before we even get a chance to measure them as part of our inventory. Again, that goes back to our first graph, our inventory, how we have over 4,000 properties under contract and only a little over 2,000 actually on market. So what does this all mean? This means we're definitely in a strong seller's market. If you're looking to sell your house, like now's the time. You're not going to have any issues. But if you are selling, you need to have, or if you are selling and looking to buy a house, you need to have a plan in place. You need to realize that selling's the easy part. Purchasing is very competitive. So what we're informing or kind of recommending some of our clients, some of our sellers is to prepare leasebacks ahead of time with buyers. Get that pre-negotiated. If you are looking to buy a home, give us some extra time other than the 30 days that it's going to take your house, to close once it's under contract. Maybe get another month or two pre-negotiated to help out, or have a plan B, some place to go, a family member to live with, just in case you're not able to find a home in the time frame it takes your house to sell. If you're a buyer, just be prepared for the competition. It's upsetting to get upset and see buyers get upset because they lose out on offers or bids. We don't know what buyers are going to offer. Some of these buyers are coming from California with lots of equity, and honestly, a house is worth what someone's willing to pay for it. Had a house the other day that was probably worth $730, listed for $760. We wrote an aggressive offer, I thought, but we got outbid way over. The bid came in $810. They waived the appraisal and everything. So that's just the type of the market we're in. Understand that. Be prepared. Don't get upset. There's another house down the way that'll come on market. Is this market going to crash? No one has a crystal ball. Things are different now than they were in 2008. Not as many cash out refinances happening. More people have equity. And honestly, we need inventory for that to change. We need a lot of inventory for that to change, especially here in our local market. There's a moratorium the CFPB put on foreclosures, which means servicers can't foreclose on properties until the end of the year. So that's the foreclosure number. So really, it really depends. If we do see an adjustment, I don't think it'll be anything like 2008. But if there is going to be an adjustment, I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon with what's going on right now. thank you guys for paying attention and watching my video. If you have any questions, leave comments or give us a call. Really appreciate everything, and talk to you soon along with the pack.